In the summer of 1218, Bulgaria was torn apart by internal strife, lost lands, and distrust of the authorities. Then, the exiled Ivan Asen, the legitimate heir to an almost interrupted dynasty, returned to Tarnovo. He came with a small army, but with a huge goal: to take the throne from Boril and restore the power of the state. Just a few years later, this young ruler would turn Bulgaria into a decisive power in the Balkans, defeat a powerful opponent at Klokotnitsa, and expand its borders without endless wars. But how did a man who had spent years in exile manage to unite a torn country and build one of the strongest Bulgarian kingdoms? This is the story of Tsar Ivan Asen II, the ruler who combines the sword with diplomacy, victory with mercy, and power with rare political wisdom. There are moments in history when a people, lost among infighting and oblivion, meets a ruler capable of changing their destiny. In the summer of 1218, word spreads along the Danube that Asen's son is returning. This is not just a fight for the throne. This is the beginning of the revival of a state. Ivan Asen comes, driven not only and solely by the desire for revenge, but with a clear vision of the future of Bulgaria. Fate turns him first into an exile, and then into one of the most significant rulers of the Second Bulgarian Kingdom. This is Tsar Ivan Asen II. Under his rule, Bulgaria not only regains its power, it becomes one of the leading states in the Balkans. Tarnovo establishes itself as a political and spiritual center. Trade expands, and military victories bring not only new lands, but also international authority. This is the story of a ruler who rules with the sword, but understands the power of mercy and diplomacy. A king who returns to Bulgaria not only territories, but also confidence in its own power. When the young Ivan Asen sets foot on Bulgarian soil again, years of exile stand behind him. First he finds refuge among the Cumans, and later in Galich. Before him lies a country torn apart by internal conflicts and weakened by the rule of Boril. Ivan Asen is the son of Tsar Asen I and heir to the dynasty that restored Bulgarian statehood after nearly 2 centuries of Byzantine rule. His father Asen I and his uncle Peter IV laid the foundations of the Second Bulgarian Kingdom. After their assassination and the rule of Kaloyan, however, the throne passed into the hands of Boril. His reign was marked by internal strife, weakening of the central government, and loss of territories. In the country, discontent gradually grew. Supported by a small but determined army, probably consisting of Russian mercenaries or vagabonds, as well as local boyars, Ivan Asen marched on Tarnovo. Boril, weakened by his unpopularity, was unable to stop the advance. After a siege lasting about 7 months, the capital fell. Boril fled, but was later captured and blinded, a common punishment for a claimant to the throne in the medieval world. The return of the rightful heir was not simply a change of ruler. It becomes a symbol of hope for a people tired of instability. The very first actions of Ivan Asen II show his political wisdom. Instead of starting a large-scale crackdown on all Boril supporters, he pardons some of them and includes them in the government. Thus he prevented new rebellions and won the support of the boyars. Tsarevets again became the strong heart of the Bulgarian state, and the new Tsar began to carefully build his power. Ivan Asen II understood that a state could not be held by the sword alone. Therefore, he used diplomacy with the same confidence with which he would later command his army. He married Anna Maria, daughter of the Hungarian king Andrew II. This alliance ensured peace on the northwestern border and brought Bulgaria closer to the powerful Arpad dynasty. The marriage was not just a family arrangement. It was a strategic move that established Bulgaria as an equal participant in European politics. The Tsar restored and expanded trade relations with Venice and other important trading centers. Tarnovo and the major Bulgarian cities became bustling markets. Goods moved along the Danube and the Black Sea, and grain, hides, and various raw materials reached distant lands. Bulgarian merchants expanded their connections, and clergymen from Tarnovo visited the Holy Land and Mount Athos. The reign of Ivan Asen II laid the foundations for economic and cultural prosperity. The ruler also worked to strengthen the independence of the Bulgarian Church. Through sophisticated diplomacy, he gradually increased its international authority. Later, at the church council in Lampsakis, The Bulgarian head of the church received patriarchal recognition. This was not only a religious, but also a political triumph. Bulgaria claimed its place among the leading Orthodox countries. The most striking moment of Ivan Asen's reign, however, came at Klokotnitsa. This battle remains in Bulgarian history as an example of a military triumph achieved against a more numerous opponent. The Epirus ruler, Theodore Komnenos, ruled vast lands in present-day northern Greece and Albania. He dreams of conquering Constantinople and restoring the Byzantine Empire under his rule. He initially makes peace with Bulgaria, but later decides that Ivan Asen is an obstacle to his ambitions. In the early spring of 1230, Theodore Komnenos broke the treaty and led his army into the Bulgarian lands. He relied on numerical superiority and the surprise of the attack. Ivan Asen, however, reacted quickly. He gathered Bulgarian soldiers and Cuman cavalry and headed south. On March 9th, the day of the Holy 40 Martyrs, the two armies met near Klokotnitsa, near the Maritsa River. The Bulgarian army was smaller in number, but well organized. And it is led by a ruler who perfectly understands the weaknesses of the enemy. The Epirus army is confident of its victory. Theodore Komnenos relies on the heavy infantry and his mercenaries, but underestimates the discipline and speed of the Bulgarians. According to the story, Ivan Asen carried a broken peace treaty on his spear to show his soldiers the enemy's betrayal. The battle began with an attack by the Epirus army against the Bulgarian center. Ivan Asen used the mobility of his forces and the power of the Cuman cavalry. The Bulgarian unit struck the enemy on the flanks, and the horse archers sowed disorder among his ranks. At the decisive moment, the king led his personal guard in a counterattack. The broken treaty on his spear became a symbol of the battle, proof that Theodore Komnenos himself had destroyed the peace and caused the war. The crucified treaty on the king's spear inspired confidence in the Bulgarian soldiers. After a fierce battle, the Epirus army disintegrated. Many soldiers were captured, and Theodore Komnenos himself fell into the hands of the Bulgarians, along with his family and those close to him. What followed was no less a triumph than the victory itself. Instead of punishing the common soldiers, Ivan Asen released them and allowed them to return to their homes. He treated the captured nobles with dignity. Theodore Komnenos was detained, but his life was spared. The Bulgarian Tsar's mercy impressed his contemporaries and earned him the respect of the population of the newly annexed lands. People saw him not as a foreign conqueror, but as a ruler capable of imposing order without senseless cruelty. The victory at Klokotnitsa changed the political map of the Balkans. Ivan Asen's power extended from the Black Sea to the Adriatic, and from the Danube to the Aegean Sea. Vast parts of Thrace, Macedonia, Albania, and northern Greece fell under his influence. Bulgaria became the most powerful state on the peninsula, and the name of its king began to be spoken with respect from Constantinople to Rome. Among the captives after Klokotnitsa was Irina Komnena, the daughter of the defeated Theodore Komnene. She was taken to Tarnovo and grew up in the Bulgarian court. Years later, fate would make her the wife of Ivan Asen and the Bulgarian queen. After Klokotnitsa, the most glorious period in the king's reign began. He directed his efforts toward strengthening the state from within. Local governors were given enough power to govern effectively, but Tarnovo retained strict control over them. Trade flourished. Cities such as Philippopolis and Kailos and Mesembria became important centers of exchange between Europe and the East. Merchants, artisans, and envoys from different countries passed through the roads and ports. Goods, coins, and ideas moved throughout the country. Economic stability strengthened the Tsar's power and made Bulgaria a preferred partner for neighboring countries. Ivan Asen also supported literature, construction, and church life. In honor of the victory at Klokotnitsa, the Church of the Holy 40 Martyrs was erected in Tarnovo. In it, the king placed a stone column with an inscription that tells of the victory and the expansion of Bulgaria. This inscription remains one of the most valuable monuments of the Bulgarian Middle Ages. The use of an ancient column from Pliska symbolically connects the First and Second Bulgarian kingdoms. Thus, Ivan Asen shows that his state is not an accidental formation. The capital Tarnovo itself reached a new flourishing, Zarovets and Trapezitsa were filled with palaces, churches, fortresses, and boyar homes. The bells of the temples echoed the city, and writers created manuscripts that continued the old Bulgarian cultural tradition. Tarnovo gradually began to be perceived as a new spiritual and political center of the Orthodox world. The influence of Ivan Asen extended far beyond the borders of Bulgaria. Serbian rulers, Greek despots, and Latin rulers sought his support and mediation. Bulgaria was no longer just a regional power. It was becoming a state on whose decision the balance of the entire Balkan peninsula depended. But behind the splendor of this flourishing, the first signs of future instability gradually appeared. After the death of Tsarina Anna Maria, Ivan Asen II married Irina Komnena. This marriage strengthened the influence of Byzantine circles at court. Even more dangerous is the question of succession. The king's son, Koloman Asen, is still a child. In individual regions, the boyars retain considerable autonomy, and only the strong personality of the ruler keeps the state united. In 1241, Ivan Asen II died suddenly. The exact cause of his death remains unknown. Some sources speak of illness, and later assumptions also allow for the possibility of poisoning. His death was a heavy blow to the state. The young Koloman Asen ascended the throne. Without the experience, authority, and political will of his father, Bulgaria gradually began to lose its influence. Just a year later, the Mongol invasion reached the Bulgarian lands. Neighboring states were recovering, boyar contradictions deepened, and the vast kingdom began to disintegrate. Ivan Asen II leaves behind not only an expanded state, but also a model for governance. He shows that a ruler can be both strong and moderate. That victory can be secured not only with fear, but also with mercy. That diplomacy, trade, and spiritual authority could be as important as the army. His reign remains an example of a rare balance between military might, political foresight, and cultural flourishing. The Church of the 40 Martyrs and the inscription on the column continue to remind us of the time when Bulgaria reached the peak of its medieval power. After the death of Ivan Asen II, the state never again reached the same political power. But his memory remains in stone, in the annals and in the memory of the Bulgarian people. He is not just a ruler from the past. He is proof that Bulgaria can be great when governed with reason, determination, and a sense of historical responsibility. If the first Bulgarian kingdom had its Simeon the Great, then the second had its Ivan Asen II, the king of the greatest prosperity, the ruler who transformed a torn state into the strongest country in the Balkans. The story of Ivan Asen II begins in exile and ends at the height of Bulgarian power. He inherits a state weakened by infighting, lost lands, and distrust of authority. But instead of ruling solely through fear, he chooses the more difficult path. He unites the boyars, he strengthens trade, he uses marriages and treaties as political weapons, and when war becomes inevitable, he wins decisively. Klokotnitsa makes him the master of the Balkans, but the mercy after victory makes him more than a conqueror. A statesman who understood that true power is not measured only by the number of enemies defeated, but also by the ability to turn victory into lasting order. Under him, Bulgaria achieved vast borders, economic stability, and international authority. Tarnovo became a brilliant capital, and the Bulgarian church restored its patriarchal dignity. His death showed how much the state depended on his personality. Only a few years after him, the slow decline of what he had built began. But his work remains. Ivan Asen II proves that great rulers are not only those who win battles. Great are those who know when to use the sword, when to make peace, and when to show mercy. Thank you to everyone who stayed with me until the very end of this historical story. Write in the comments which moment of Ivan Asen II's reign impressed you the most. His return from exile, the victory at Klokotnitsa, or the mercy he showed after it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with people who love Bulgarian history. Your support helps these stories reach more viewers. Thank you for your trust and time. Until the next story.